with that, I want to get your final thoughts on both the food stamp challenge and the food stamp cuts and the food stamp program just in general. Daniel, what are your final thoughts on this subject?
Don't cut the food stamps, and more of our politicians, both local and national on the Hill, need to take the challenge. And those are my final thoughts. For a month, not a week duration.
I agree. Jeff, what are your final thoughts?
For my final thoughts, I actually want to talk a little bit more about Walmart.
Go ahead.
How that relates to the SNAP program.
You're absolutely right. It does have a lot to do with the SNAP program because
Absolutely.
they put the employees on food stamps.
And that's exactly what I'm going to point out. A lot of their employees are instructed actually to go on food stamps, and they turn around and spend the money at Walmart. It is a large subsidy from the taxpayer every time somebody swipes an EBT card at Walmart. And if you think that Walmart is just going to go and let it go and let the program be devastated to nothing, then I think that they would be definitely hurting their current business model, because they do make money off this program. It's a very lucrative program, as is the rest of the Farm Bill. Now, the Farm Bill that these particular cuts are being added to also has provisions that help these farmers through an insurance subsidy. Okay, and I just want to say how intertwined business interests are within this Farm Bill. And it's no longer about really protecting the poorest among us. It's about how do we use this law, how do we use government to kind of profit off of. And that's what Walmart and a lot of these large agribusinesses are really good for. So when you're talking about relatively small cuts like this, I think they'll go through. Because as as Steve King had said, nobody's going to notice. Well, Walmart's not going to notice. And those are the only people that matter. And those are my final thoughts.
Absolutely, you're right. That's a very good point. The people that matter won't notice the cuts. I think that's really what he meant when he said that. Because if the cuts were so minuscule in reality that we wouldn't be able to feel them, then there would be no point to making the cuts in the first place. And this was in a letter that 25 Republican members wrote on last Tuesday. They wrote a letter that included, unfortunately, the rapid growth of the food stamp program has increased dependency on government and added to our federal deficit. This is the mythology that I was talking about, the propaganda that they're trying to feed to the American people. Our tax dollars are going to feed these lazy, insignificant wastes of society that refuse to get off their asses and get a job. Well, the last time that I read anything on this subject, there were 7 people for every 1 job opening out there, and many of those jobs are very low-wage jobs that aren't even living wages, so you'd still need food stamp benefits or some kind of help in order to just survive and eat, because many of the jobs that are available to most people out there right now, they don't cover the expense of rent and car insurance and electricity, let alone one's ability to eat and eat well. And really, we're harming our country and we're harming our nation by denying these people not only food, but good food and good nutrition and access to good nutrition. Because a healthy populace is an enriched populace that can truly make a difference in this world, that can truly make an impact on this earth. If you allow your entire populace to be starved and to be desperate and to be poor, then that is what you're going to end up with, a country whose economy and culture is poor and starving and feeble. So hopefully this challenge, this protest, will at least open up a few people's eyes that maybe weren't aware of or not thinking of these issues before. But More than anything, I think it's important to educate yourself and dig out the facts and stop believing in all this hype and propaganda that Republicans are trying to spew, um, and fool people with, because that's what they're trying to do, is fool people. And you're absolutely right. Walmart and other big corporations stand to profit off of what Republicans are doing, because not only now do they not have to pay their workers a living wage, but what food stamp benefits those workers are getting are going right back into the big corporate cycle of everything. So there you go. Walmart gets to not only save money by not paying their employees, they get to make money by taking the scraps that those same people are thrown each month. So I'm going to leave it at that, and here's hoping that things change in the not too distant future, and that we are actually given a liberal, progressive body of legislation. And only we can make that happen. Only we can make the change.